First contact's price. The quantum detection array on Titan Station 7 picked up the anomaly at 0347 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Marcus Rivera, lead researcher of Deep Space Monitoring, initially dismissed it as another crystalline methane formation in Saturn's largest moon's atmosphere. That decision would haunt him for years to come. Dr. Rivera, the signal pattern doesn't match any known natural phenomena, insisted Lieutenant Hanako Tanaka, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display. The young officer had transferred from Earth's Space Defense Force 6 months ago, bringing military precision to the civilian research station. The energy signature suggests artificial propulsion. Marcus rubbed his tired eyes, the blue glow of multiple monitors reflecting off his silver-streaked hair. Titan's perpetual orange haze visible through the reinforced windows didn't help his fatigue. Lieutenant, do you know how many false positives we've had this month alone? 73. Each one requiring a full report to Earth Command. The signal pulsed again, stronger this time. Hanako's fingers flew across the haptic interface, bringing up comparative analyses. Sir, this one's different. The signal's getting stronger, and it's approaching on a controlled vector. Natural phenomena don't do that. Before Marcus could respond, Admiral Helena Blackwood's face appeared on the main screen, her expression grave. Station 7, we're picking up multiple unknown contacts on approach. Are you confirming? Marcus felt his stomach drop as he looked at the updated readings. Not one signal now, but 7, all moving with deliberate purpose toward Titan. Confirmed, Admiral. Lieutenant Tanaka identified them first. They're definitely artificial, definitely powered, and definitely heading our way. Time to contact? Hanako's voice was steady despite the tension. 19 minutes at current velocity, Admiral. Dr. Rivera, initiate Protocol Omega. Lieutenant Tanaka, prepare for emergency evacuation. I'm dispatching the 7th Fleet, but they're 4 hours out. You need to hold out until then. Marcus started to say they were a research station, not a military installation, but the transmission cut off. Warning klaxons blared throughout the station as automated systems initiated lockdown procedures. The next 17 minutes were a blur of activity. The station's 120 civilian researchers and 30 military personnel moved with practiced efficiency, despite never expecting to use their evacuation drills. Marcus found himself in the station's makeshift command center, watching alongside Hanako as the unknown vessels drew closer. Energy spike. Hanako's warning came seconds before the first blast hit. The station's shields, designed to protect against micrometeorites and solar radiation, flared brilliant blue under weapons fire never imagined in their design specifications. The aliens made no attempt at communication. No demands, no warnings, nothing to suggest they viewed humans as anything more than targets to be eliminated. Their ships, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, moved with cold precision. Shields at 40% and dropping, Hanako reported, her hands dancing across the controls. The evacuation pods aren't going to make it past their formation. Marcus watched as another blast rocked the station. What about the experimental phase shifter? Hanako's eyes widened. The quantum tunneling device? It's untested, sir. We don't know if it will work on anything larger than a proton. Better untested than dead, Marcus replied, already inputting his authorization codes. How many pods can we fit in the testing chamber? Understanding dawned on Hanako's face. 3, maybe 4 if we squeeze them. But sir, the power requirements. We'll drain the station's reserves and drop our shields, Marcus finished. I know. Get everyone you can into those pods. I'll handle the phase shifter. The next few minutes were organized chaos. 96 people crammed into 4 evacuation pods, all squeezed into the quantum research lab. Marcus worked frantically at the controls of the phase shifter, a device originally designed to study quantum entanglement across vast distances. Last pod sealed, Hanako reported. But sir, there's no room. You need to get in pod 4, Lieutenant. That's an order. Marcus didn't look up from his calculations. Someone has to stay to activate the shifter and make sure the aliens can't follow the signal. Sir. Hanako, Marcus finally looked at her, managing a small smile. Humanity needs to know what we're facing. Make sure they're ready. The last thing Marcus saw before another blast rocked the station was Hanako's reluctant salute as the pod door sealed. He turned back to his controls, fingers flying across the interface as he initiated the quantum tunneling sequence. The phase shifter had never been designed for this, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Let's see how you handle a little human improvisation, he muttered, watching the alien ships close in. The phase shifter hummed to life, its power draw causing lights throughout the station to flicker and die. As the shields failed and the alien weapons began tearing through the station's outer hull, Marcus hit the final activation sequence. The 4 evacuation pods, along with their precious human cargo, vanished in a flash of quantum displacement. The aliens, expecting easy targets, found their weapons passing through suddenly empty space. By the time they realized what had happened, the pods were already emerging from quantum space near Neptune's orbit, far beyond their reach. Marcus's last act was to initiate the station's self-destruct sequence, taking the phase shifter's designs and 2 of the alien ships with him. The survivors would later name this moment the beginning of the First Contact War, but for now, they focused on survival, carrying with them the knowledge that humanity was not alone in the universe, and that some of their neighbors were far from friendly. Admiral Blackwood, receiving the quantum-encrypted transmission from the surviving pods, understood immediately what this meant for humanity. "Send word to all Earth commands," she ordered, her voice heavy with the weight of history. "As of this moment, we are at war. And God help us all if we're not ready for what comes next." The Galactic Council's mistake. 3 months after the Titan station attack, humanity discovered they weren't alone in their fight against the crystalline invaders. A sleek vessel, unlike the angular hostile ships, appeared at the edge of the solar system broadcasting a single message in perfect English: "We come in peace. We offer assistance against the Nexari threat." The ship belonged to the Galactic Council, an alliance of 17 spacefaring civilizations. Their representative, Ambassador Zilvax of the Etherian race, stood before the United Earth Defense Council in Geneva, his translucent form shimming under the chamber lights. "The Nexari are known raiders," Zilvax explained, his melodic voice carrying across the chamber. "They attack developing civilizations, testing their defenses. Your resistance at Titan Station was unexpected." Admiral Blackwood, now Chief of Earth Defense Operations, leaned forward. "Unexpected how, Ambassador?" "Most species surrender or are destroyed in their first encounter. Your adaptation of quantum technology to save your people was creative." The way Zilvax said creative made it sound like a disease. Fleet Commander Raj Patel, the architect of Earth's new defense strategy, exchanged glances with Blackwood. The surviving data from Titan Station had revolutionized human military doctrine, leading to the development of quantum-shift combat tactics that the Nexari seemed unable to counter. "We seek admission to the Galactic Council," announced Director Olivia Chen, Earth's chief diplomat. "Our species needs allies, and we offer our quantum warfare innovations in return." The chamber's atmosphere shifted as Zilvax's form flickered, a sign of agitation among his kind. "The Council has concerns about humanity's inclusion." "Concerns?" Blackwood's voice carried an edge sharp enough to cut steel. "Your species is young, aggressive, unpredictable. Your military responses lack proper protocol and structure. The Council operates on principles of organized, disciplined warfare." Patel couldn't contain his disbelief. "Disciplined warfare? Against an enemy that shows no mercy?" "The Meridian Empire, our strongest military force, has contained the Nexari for centuries through proper strategic engagement," Zilvax responded. Their Grand Marshal Xylith maintains order through strict adherence to established combat doctrine. The meeting deteriorated from there. Earth's representatives learned that the Council viewed warfare as an almost ceremonial exchange, with prescribed responses and acceptable casualty thresholds. The concept of adaptive combat tactics and battlefield improvisation seemed to horrify them. Perhaps, Zilvax suggested, we could offer provisional membership, under Meridian supervision. Grand Marshal Xylith has expressed interest in civilizing your military approach. The silence that followed was deafening. Director Chen, with diplomatic precision, thanked the ambassador for his time and called for a recess. As the chamber emptied, Blackwood, Patel, and Chen remained. "They're afraid of us," Patel observed, reviewing the meeting notes. "Not of our technology or our weapons, but of how we think." Chen nodded. "Their entire society is built on predictability and protocol. We're the chaos factor they can't control. And this Meridian Empire," Blackwood added, "they're not offering supervision. They want containment." Their discussion was interrupted by an urgent communication. The Nexari had attacked again, this time striking a Meridian outpost in the Proxima Centauri system. The Meridian response followed their standard protocol: organized battle formations, prescribed attack patterns, and predictable defense grids. The outpost fell within hours. "They're using our quantum shift techniques," reported Lieutenant Commander Victor Santos, Earth's lead tactical analyst. "The Nexari learned from Titan Station, but the Meridians haven't adapted. They're fighting yesterday's war." Grand Marshal Xylith's response came swiftly. The Meridian Empire, without Council approval, established a protective quarantine around Earth's solar system. Their stated reason: preventing the spread of destabilizing tactical philosophies. "They're not protecting the galaxy from us," Blackwood realized, watching the Meridian fleet take position. "They're protecting their power structure. Our existence challenges everything they believe about warfare and civilization." Chen's diplomatic channels confirmed this fear. The Meridian Empire, long comfortable in its role as the galaxy's premier military force, saw humanity as a threat to their dominance. Earth's quantum shift tactics had done more than counter the Nexari, they had demonstrated that the Meridian's rigid military doctrine was obsolete. "So what's our play?" Patel asked, studying the tactical displays showing the Meridian blockade. "We can't match their numbers, and we can't expect help from the Council." Blackwood's response was interrupted by another emergency signal. The Nexari, emboldened by their victory at Proxima Centauri, had launched simultaneous attacks on 3 Meridian worlds. The mighty Meridian fleet, spread thin by maintaining Earth's quarantine, struggled to respond effectively. "We have 2 options," Chen said, watching the reports flood in. "We can wait behind their blockade, safe but imprisoned, while the Nexari pick apart the galaxy's defenses. Or," Patel prompted, "or we show them exactly why they should have made us allies instead of prisoners." Blackwood smiled for the first time since the Council meeting. "Commander Patel, how quickly can you adapt our quantum shift tactics for large-scale fleet operations?" "Give me 48 hours and every ship we can muster," Patel replied, already reaching for his tactical display. "I'll give you something that will make both the Nexari and the Meridians reconsider their life choices." As Earth's military leadership began planning what would become known as Operation Paradigm Shift, Chen made one final communication to the Galactic Council: "You feared our unpredictability. You're about to learn why. Unconventional tactics. Break formation. Scatter pattern delta." Commander Raj Patel's order crackled across the quantum comm as Earth's first strike fleet executed a maneuver that would have given any Meridian tactician a seizure. Instead of maintaining the tight, orderly formations favored by galactic military doctrine, the human vessels split apart like a firework explosion, each ship taking a seemingly random vector. The Meridian blockade ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the starlight, maintained their precise geometric pattern. Grand Marshal Xylith's voice carried equal parts contempt and confusion as it echoed through the command channel: this is chaos, Commander. Return your vessels to proper combat formation or face immediate response. Patel's only reply was a quiet command to his fleet, execute quantum shift. Pattern Firefly. What happened next would be studied in military academies, both human and alien, for centuries to come. The scattered human ships didn't just engage their quantum drives, they performed a series of micro-jumps, appearing and disappearing in rapid succession. To the Meridian sensors, it looked like the human fleet had suddenly multiplied, creating a three-dimensional constellation of potential targets. Impossible, Xylith breathed, watching his tactical display light up with hundreds of signature echoes. This violates all established protocols of quantum warfare. Lieutenant Commander Santos, monitoring the battle from Earth Defense Command, allowed himself a small smile. The quantum echo technique, inspired by the way fireflies used bioluminescence to confuse predators, had been his contribution to Operation Paradigm Shift. That's rather the point, isn't it? The Meridian Fleet's response was exactly what humanity had counted on. Following their doctrine to the letter, they initiated their standard counterquantum protocols, adjusting their shields to the precise frequencies needed to block conventional quantum attacks. It would have been the perfect defense against any civilization that followed the rules. Humanity didn't follow rules. They rewrote them. Second wave, initiate Operation Ghost Light, Patel commanded. A dozen ships, hidden in the chaos of quantum echoes, activated their modified drives. Instead of creating more echoes, these ships performed what theoretical physicists had once claimed was impossible. They went into partial quantum shift, existing simultaneously in normal and quantum space. The Meridian shields, calibrated for complete quantum signatures, might as well have been tissue paper. The human ships passed through them as if they weren't there, their modified weapons creating havoc in the perfectly ordered Meridian formation. This is barbaric. Xylitha's voice had lost its contempt, replaced by something closer to fear. You're violating every principle of civilized combat. Civilized combat, Patel replied, finally breaking his silence, is a luxury we can't afford while the Nexari tear apart your worlds. Speaking of which. On cue, long-range sensors detected new quantum signatures. The Nexari, drawn by the battle, had arrived exactly as predicted. Their crystalline ships, darker and more predatory than the Meridian vessels, moved to engage both fleets. Now, Patel said quietly, we show you why adaptation beats doctrine. The scattered human fleet suddenly moved with purpose, their seemingly random positions revealing themselves as a carefully choreographed trap. The quantum echoes, which had so confused the Meridians, began to pulse in a complex pattern that played havoc with Nexari bioquantum sensors. Third wave, execute Operation Will-O-Wisp, Patel ordered. The remaining human ships, which had been holding position at the edge of the battle, engaged their drives. But instead of joining the fight directly, they created a quantum resonance field, turning the very fabric of space into a weapon. The field interacted with the quantum echoes and the partial shift ships, creating a cascading effect that trapped both Meridian and Nexari vessels in a quantum deadlock. For a moment, space itself seemed to hold its breath. You've doomed us all, Xylith transmitted, his ships unable to move or fire. This level of quantum manipulation could tear apart the sector. Actually, Santos cut in, his voice calm, we've calculated the resonance frequencies quite precisely. The field will hold for exactly 7 minutes before collapsing. More than enough time for you to consider your options. Patel opened a channel to both fleets. The Nexari are the real enemy here. They adapt, they learn, and they show no mercy. We can help you fight them, but not if we're bound by rules they don't follow. You have 7 minutes to decide, work with us as equals, or watch as your rigid doctrine fails against an enemy that doesn't care about your protocols. The next 6 minutes and 30 seconds were tense with silence. The human fleet maintained their positions, the quantum field hummed with carefully controlled chaos, and two alien civilizations faced a choice that would reshape galactic military doctrine forever. With 17 seconds remaining, Xylatha's response came through. The Meridian Empire requests tactical consultation with Earth Command. As the quantum field began to dissipate, Patel allowed himself a small smile. A wise choice, Marshal. Now, let me show you what happens when you combine your precision with our creativity. The Nexari, sensing the shift in the battle's dynamics, began to retreat. But they had learned something too: humanity wasn't just unpredictable in combat. They could make allies of their enemies, turn chaos into strategy, and rewrite the rules of warfare itself. Back on Earth, Director Chen received the battle update with satisfaction. Send word to the Galactic Council, she instructed her staff. Tell them humanity is ready to demonstrate our unique approach to problem solving. All they have to do is ask nicely. The turn of the tide. The Galactic Council's emergency session was unlike any in its 10,000-year history. Representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations watched in stunned silence as the battle footage played out on the chamber's holographic display. The quantum echo maneuver, the partial shift attacks, the resonance field trap, each demonstration of human military innovation drew gasps of horror or admiration, depending on the species. Ambassador Zilvac stood at the center of the chamber, his translucent form rippling with barely contained emotion. We must address the human question immediately. Their methods are spreading. The human question had become the Council's most pressing concern. In the 3 weeks since the Battle of the Meridian Blockade, the alliance between human and Meridian forces had produced stunning results. The Nexari, faced with an enemy that combined Meridian precision with human unpredictability, had been driven back from their conquered territories. The Meridian Empire's military doctrine is being corrupted, declared Vornthal, the Sylphoid representative. Their fleets now employ these chaotic, adaptive tactics. It's spreading like a virus through their command structure. A virus that works, countered Director Chen, Earth's newly appointed council representative. She stood on the chamber floor, unfazed by the alien scrutiny. The combined Human Meridian Task Force has liberated 6 worlds from Nexari control. Your proper military protocols never managed that. Grand Marshal Xylath, appearing via quantum projection, nodded in agreement. His once rigid posture now carried a hint of human fluidity. The Empire has learned more about effective warfare in 3 weeks than in 3 centuries. We were stagnant, bound by tradition, while our enemies evolved. The council chamber erupted in overlapping arguments. Some representatives demanded Earth be censured for destabilizing galactic military doctrine. Others called for immediate adoption of human tactical innovations. The debate might have continued indefinitely if not for an urgent transmission that cut through the chaos. Admiral Blackwood's hologram appeared in the chamber center, her expression grim. The Nexari have launched a counteroffensive. They've adapted their own version of our quantum echo technique. They're attacking the Centauri sector with weapons we've never seen before. The chamber fell silent. The Centauri sector, home to 3 council races, was a crucial strategic region. Its loss would split council space in half. How many ships? Xylath demanded. Over 300, Blackwood replied. They're using some kind of bioquantum hybrid technology. Our standard countermeasures are ineffective. Commander Patel's voice joined the transmission. The Nexari haven't just copied our tactics, they've evolved them. They're learning faster than we anticipated. Director Chen turned to face the council. Now you have a choice. Continue debating about proper protocol while the Nexari advance, or let humanity show you a new way to fight. What do you propose? Zilvac asked, his earlier condescension replaced by cautious interest. A combined fleet, Chen said. Not just human and Meridian ships, but vessels from every council race. Each species brings their own strengths, their own perspective. We'll show you how to combine them in ways the Nexari can't predict. Impossible, Vornthal protested. Our species have never conducted joint combat operations on that scale. The coordination alone would be chaos? Chen smiled. Exactly. Controlled chaos is humanity's specialty. The next 48 hours saw the largest military mobilization in Council history. Ships from 17 species gathered in the Centauri sector, many of them modified with human quantum technology. Commander Patel, promoted to Fleet Admiral for the operation, faced the challenge of turning this diverse armada into a coherent fighting force. Forget everything you know about proper combat formation, Patel told the assembled commanders. Today, we're writing new rules. The Battle of Proxima Dawn, as it would be known, began with a sight unprecedented in galactic history. The combined Council fleet, instead of forming traditional battle lines, arranged itself into what Patel called a quantum web. Each species' ships were positioned to maximize their unique capabilities, creating a complex, interwoven defense network. The Etherian vessels, with their advanced sensor arrays, formed the web's nerve center. Meridian warships provided precision strike capabilities. Sylphoid ships, naturally attuned to quantum frequencies, maintained the integrity of the web itself. And at key nodal points throughout the formation, human vessels stood ready to introduce their signature chaos into the equation. When the Nexari fleet arrived, they faced something entirely new, an enemy that combined the strengths of 17 different military traditions with humanity's talent for tactical innovation. The result was devastating. They can't predict what we'll do, Santos observed from his tactical station, because we don't know ourselves until the moment we do it. The battle lasted 11 hours. When it ended, the Nexari fleet was in ruins, and the galaxy had witnessed the birth of a new era in warfare. But more importantly, they had seen what could be achieved when rigid doctrine gave way to creative adaptation. In the Council chamber, watching the after-action reports, Ambassador Zilvax turned to Director Chen. "We feared your chaos would destroy us," he admitted. "We never imagined it would save us instead." Chen's response would be recorded in Council histories: "Chaos isn't the enemy of order. It's the catalyst for evolution. Humanity didn't come to destroy your traditions, we came to help them grow." Evolution of fear. The Nexari surrendered 3 days after the Battle of Proxima Dawn. Not to the Galactic Council, not to the Meridian Empire, but to humanity. Their message was simple: we recognize evolution when we see it. In the Great Council chamber, the Nexari Supreme Commander stood before representatives of 18 spacefaring civilizations, the 17 Council races and humanity. Its crystalline form, dark and imposing, reflected the chamber's lights in mesmerizing patterns. "We are hunters," the Supreme Commander's translated voice resonated through the chamber. "For millennia, we have tested emerging civilizations, forcing them to evolve or perish. The Council races stopped evolving long ago, becoming static, predictable. But humanity." A ripple of bioluminescence passed through its crystalline form. "Humanity showed us something new." Admiral Blackwood, standing beside Director Chen and Fleet Admiral Patel, studied the alien being. "You weren't just raiding our worlds. You were testing us. Every species faces the same choice when they reach the stars," the Supreme Commander continued. "Embrace change and evolution, or seek comfort in rigid patterns. The Council chose patterns. You chose evolution." The chamber erupted in murmurs as Council representatives processed this revelation. Ambassador Zilvax's form flickered rapidly, a sign of intense agitation. "You've terrorized countless civilizations, destroyed whole worlds, all to test their adaptability? Those who survive become stronger," the Nexari replied. "Those who don't were not ready for the greater challenges that await." "Greater challenges?" Commander Santos leaned forward at his observation post. "What greater challenges?" The Supreme Commander's crystalline surface darkened. "The galaxy is not a safe place. Beyond the Council's known space lie threats you cannot imagine. We have held them back for eons, but we too had become predictable. We needed to evolve. Humanity has shown us how. Director Chen caught the implications first. You're not surrendering out of defeat. You're proposing an alliance. The Nexari have watched 17 species build a civilization based on stability and predictability, the Supreme Commander confirmed. Now we have witnessed one species transform that civilization in less than a standard solar cycle. Humanity does not just adapt, it causes others to adapt. This is the evolution we have sought. Fleet Admiral Patel exchanged glances with Blackwood. And these threats beyond known space? How immediate are they? The Nexari's response chilled the chamber. They are already coming. What followed was unprecedented in Council history. The Nexari shared their intelligence about the threats they'd been holding back, vast swarms of biomechanical entities from intergalactic space, drawn to civilizations that achieved certain technological thresholds. The Council races had been living in a protected bubble, unaware that their stagnation was being enforced by Nexari intervention. The swarms cannot be defeated through conventional warfare, the Supreme Commander explained. They learn, adapt, and overwhelm. We have contained them by constantly evolving our own tactics, but the cost has been devastating. And now you think humanity's approach might offer a better solution, Blackwood concluded. Your quantum innovations are impressive, the Nexari agreed, but it is your ability to inspire evolution in others that makes you unique. The Meridian Empire, once the most rigid military force in known space, now embraces tactical flexibility. The Council, which feared chaos, now understands its value in controlled amounts. Grand Marshal Xylith, his hologram flickering with emphasis, addressed the chamber. The Meridian Empire supports this alliance. We have learned more about effective warfare from humans in months than we learned from the Council in centuries. One by one, the Council representatives added their voices in support. Even Ambassador Zilvax, who had once advocated for humanity's quarantine, spoke in favor. Perhaps, he admitted, it is time for the Council itself to evolve. Director Chen stepped forward. Earth will agree to this alliance on one condition. She paused, making eye contact with each representative. The old hierarchies must end. No more provisional memberships, no more rigid protocols that stifle innovation. If we're going to face these threats together, we do it as equals. The Council's unanimous agreement marked the beginning of a new era in galactic history. The Galactic Defense Initiative, as it became known, combined Nexari experience, Council resources, and human innovation into something entirely new. Training exchanges began immediately, with human military advisors teaching adaptation techniques while learning from the unique capabilities of other species. 6 months later, at the commissioning ceremony for the first Joint Species Fleet, Admiral Blackwood stood before a gathering of representatives from all 19 species, 18 former rivals and humanity. We came to the stars thinking we were alone, she began. We feared what we might find, and what we found feared us. But fear, like everything else, can evolve. It can become understanding. Understanding can become cooperation. And cooperation, combined with our unique strengths, can become something greater than any of us imagined. As if to punctuate her words, the fleet assembled above the ceremony site, ships of every species, each modified with innovations born from their new alliance. They no longer flew in rigid formations but in fluid, adaptive patterns that would have been impossible a year earlier. The threats coming from beyond our space expect to find divided, predictable civilizations, Blackwood continued. Instead, they'll find 19 species that have learned to combine order with chaos, tradition with innovation, and stability with evolution. She smiled. Humanity may have shown the way, but what we've become together is greater than any single species could achieve alone. The fleet above began its first maneuvers, moving in patterns that defied conventional tactics while maintaining perfect coordination. It was neither the rigid order of the old council nor the pure chaos of human innovation, but something new, a an evolving synthesis that would reshape the galaxy's future. As Director Chen watched the display, Ambassador Zilvax approached her. "We feared your species would destroy everything we built," he admitted. "Instead, you taught us how to build something better." Chen's response became the motto of the new alliance: the greatest strength isn't in either chaos or order, but in having the wisdom to know when to use each. That's not just humanity's gift to the galaxy, it's the gift every species brings, once they learn to embrace evolution.